Also, I just want to announce that we have videotapes in the back, books. Most of you have seen them. I also have these t-shirts dealing with the Moorish science, flower of life. I'm selling those in the back. Basically, I don't make anything off of about $5. It cost me about $35 to put them together. The patches come from India, and the shirts are tie-dyed by hand. So right now I'm going to introduce brother Sharif A.Bey, long awaited. He was here with A.Bey about 4 weeks ago? About 4 weeks ago, and he dropped some heavy science, so I'm sure you're in for a treat. Sharif.
Good to be back out here again. Thanks everyone. My wife made some really serious points about what's going on in the here and now, and I'm going to follow up on that. Again, to reiterate something that she had said earlier, is that a lot of us are used to, and we've fallen into the rut of being entertained, and being, getting feel-good speeches and the feel-good information, and we lull ourselves to sleep because it's sad. A lot of these things sound very good, and they're good to know about our history, about our culture. That's good to know. Prophet Drew Ali said in one of his old prophecies, he said that the Moors once ruled the world. Now get ready to rule it again, but this time under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He also said that I'm going to leave the European here just long enough to teach you how to run a government. Now we know the purpose of history. The purpose of true history is actually programming for yourself in the present. In other words, if you know what you were capable of doing in the past, that gives you a vantage point to do what you need to do in the present for the future. The problem with the artificial slave history that we've been given is that it programs you to be the perfect slave. Because if all you knew that you were in the past was a slave, that's all you will ever endeavor to be. You'll always be looking for what the insurance people call limited liability. Well, I don't have to be responsible. I'm a second-class citizen. And that's what slavery is. Slavery is limited liability. I don't have to be responsible. Somebody else is taking care of my food, clothing, and shelter, and I'm not. All right? True history, or what we call Moorish history, we're fond of saying that, that the only true history of the past 2,000 years is that of the Moorish nation. But that's a heavy responsibility. If you're told that, and we can prove that we financed the European side of this two-sealed government. We financed the European to set up here and establish corporate entities, which are now called states. They're still colonies. And we did it under our federal government, or our federal banner. Then that's a heavy responsibility, because now we, at the same time as accepting that, we have to also accept the responsibility for cleaning up the mess that this country is in today. If we're indeed the federal government, we are now responsible for what's happening, and we have to be in positions to clean up the mess. We have to be. So what the sister said earlier is absolutely essential. We cannot be satisfied, and I'm talking to myself as well. We can't be satisfied by sitting here or standing here in front of people and doing speeches and lectures. It's good, but this is not where the work is supposed to be done. The work is done in our seats of government, and we have to take that responsibility. I want to give some thanks to a few people. One of them is A.Bey. He couldn't be here. He was going to try to be here. But he's going to be making a few, actually he's going to be delivering some statements, written statements around, but as Riot will have that already, right, as far as his progress up in the Syracuse area, upstate New York. I also want to give thanks to a brother in Jersey, in Camden, New Jersey, by the name of A.Bey. He puts out excellent literature under the name Moorish Order of the Round Table. Excellent literature. You can get your hands on any of this stuff, I suggest you do. Also thanks to a brother who recently went back, who recently made transition. His name is Brother Johnson Bey out of Cleveland, Ohio. It's the man that nationalized myself and one of my other close friends. And he was with the Moorish Circle of Mothers and Sons of Cleveland, Ohio. He was a direct personal student under Charles Mosley Bey, also known as C.M. Bey. There's I don't have the Bible here with me, but I'm going to start my lecture. The name of my lecture is Moorish Jurisprudence. Moorish Jurisprudence. The term jurisprudence is a legal term, and what it means, jurisprudence means the treatment of the science of positive law. Positive law as opposed to negative law. We'll get into that in a minute. But that's what jurisprudence is, the treatment of the science of positive law. Most law students, when they go to school, will tell you, they're not taught about jurisprudence. They don't even hear the word jurisprudence until the very end of the course, if they make it that far. And then it's mentioned. The science of law is why law works. And that principle is very simple. Very simple. It's very simple. A lot of the trappings around it make it complicated, so they don't want, because they don't want the average person knowing. Because once you know, you're on par with other people that know. And they have to respect you and meet you on the level. They can't rule over you. What I'm going to do in the first half of this lecture is that I'm going to kind of rush people, kind of bring people up to, I don't know who knows what. So I'm going to bring people, up to speed with a couple of pertinent issues in terms of history. So we can bring things up to the present time so that it can, so that the actual science or technical aspects of what I'm going to be dealing with can make a little more sense. In the book of Revelations in the Bible, 12th chapter, 7th verse, it speaks of a war in heaven. I'm sure everybody knows, most people have heard or familiar with the story. Of Satan and his angels, the dragon and his angels fighting against Michael, and his angels, and how they fought in heaven, and how the dragon was found, there was no more place found for him, he was cast out. Okay? So what is the question? What does this have to do with law? What does that have to do with government, the science of government? The term heaven in the Bible has a number of coded connotations. One of them is government. Heaven is government. All right? When it talks about a war in heaven, it's talking about a war between two parties in one particular place. That war was between this seal and that seal. Question. What country on the planet do you know that has two seals? A seal is representative of a government. That's what a seal is representative of. A seal is representative of a government, and a government is representative of a nation. You had two seals on one landmass. That's what we're dealing with here. When did this particular war in heaven take place, and which seal lost? Who can tell me which seal lost the war? Well, a lot of that actually depends on when the war took place. The war took place between the years of 1928 and 1933. That's when this war took place. Which seal won? Who knows? $64,000 question. Which seal won? Which seal lost?
That seal won. Great seal won.
This seal won? This seal lost? Absolutely correct. This seal won in 1933. This seal lost in 1933. This is one that was cast out. And in Revelation spoke of, woe unto the people of the earth, for the devil has come down with great wrath because he knows his time is short. Now, can we translate that to events that happened around 1933? Yes, we can. What? It's also called the Continental United States flag. This is called the precept by doctors of law and Moorish scientists. The precept. What does precept mean? Anyone know? Precept is that which is written down. Okay? The precept follows the concept. The concept is the idea. What's the concept? That's the concept. The Moorish national flag. The real name of it is Old Glory. When was this flag taken down on this continent? What year? Anyone know? Wow. Did anyone know that this flag flew on this continent? This flag was taken down by George Washington, 1774. 1774, this flag was taken down. All right? How many of you are familiar with the story of George Washington and chopping down the cherry tree? You think that was just a cool fairy tale they made up for no particular reason or for entertainment? No. How old was he in the story written by Parson Weems? How old was he? Anybody know?
9 years old.
9 years old. He was 9 years old when he said, "I cannot tell a lie, chop down the cherry tree." What's the significance of all that? Don't answer this. Don't answer this. If George Washington, was George Washington the first president of the United States?
No.
Okay, everybody knows. Now you know the significance of the number 9, why he was 9 years old. What president was he? He was the 9th president. He was the 9th president. He was not the first. That's a very simple one in terms of education, like the sister brought up. We say that numbers don't lie. Mathematics is the universal science. But we don't apply it, not even in its basic sense. They teach us the metric system in school, and then they straight lie to us about the months in the calendar. They teach us numbers. 1 comes before 2, and then 3, then 4, then 5. And they tell us they teach us addition and subtraction. Then they tell us George Washington was the first president. But they play themselves because they tell you the year he was inaugurated, 1789. But the states declared independence in 1776. Who was president at that time? But none of us question our educators about it. We don't question them. Another big issue that kicks us in the behind is our people that literally disenfranchises us voluntarily is the acceptance of this type of BS. We accept it. It's voluntary slavery. The 13th Amendment said involuntary servitude will not exist upon pain of death. All right. Didn't say nothing about the contracting of labor or voluntary slavery, did it? Case in point, if I lie to you, you may not know me, but if I lie to you and you find out I've lied, everything I say from that point on is suspect, isn't it? Now, we're fond of saying that this European man has said this, that, and the other, and he lied about this, said we're running around after bones on our nose, and he made better people out of us by enslaving us. That's a lie. We're fond of saying that, aren't we? But this same man tells you that he picked you up on a slave ship and brought you over here in the 1500s and 1600s by the millions, and you believed it. And we still believe it. And many of us make millions of dollars perpetrating a bold-faced, shallow lie. Question. When did the Black Plague hit Europe? 14th century. Right? 14th century. Excuse me? The Black Plague. The 14th to the 16th century, the Black Plague ravaged Europe, destroyed nearly a third of its population. Why was the Black Plague able to do this? Basically, no disrespect. People who didn't know how to cook and preserve food properly. Poor sanitation. People weren't washing. How long does it take for an average trip across the Atlantic, even in the present day? I won't even go into that. How long would it take a regular ship with sails to make the trip? The average was 3 months. Now, how did they survive? To hell think about the crew. How did they survive when they couldn't even preserve their own food on land? There's records of shipbuilding companies and schools that teach navigation. What are the names of those in England during that time? There should be records of it. How is it that you've never seen a slave ship in your life? I'm not talking about the Henrietta that sunk off the coast of Florida. They call it a slave ship. They call the Amistad slave. They call the Amistad ship a slave ship. It was a warship. Come on. Play the language game. In my book, I talk about Toussaint Louverture, San Domingo Revolution, Haiti. They say he was a runaway slave. Strange, though, that every time they see a picture of him, he has an admiral's uniform on. Well, since when did slaves wear admiral's uniforms? It said that this man repelled the greatest European navy in the history of that time, Napoleon. Ooh, wait a minute. Doesn't it take a navy to repel a navy? But they say he was a runaway slave, and believe it, instead of facing the obvious fact that the man was a military strategist with an army and a navy, quite possible. There's a book that my wife put me on to called The Black Jacobins. Incredible book. Little paperback. Incredible book. She made the statement, the quote by our brother A.Bey. A.Bey in his excellent literature, Clock of Destiny 1 and 2, he says, the history of the Moorish nation lies hidden in every library of the Union. The key word says it lies hidden. Us, we have feathers on, turbans, and the whole nine, but we're still Negroes because we'll run to the library thinking we're going to see a book that says Moorish History Illustrated. Right? With pictures, big pictures, you know? Come on. It's hidden. How many people would think to look for Moorish history in the works of Shakespeare? That's where it is. How about, what's the name of the book? French. Candide. Candide by Voltaire. Get it. Get it. Don't touch it. Oh, but Candide by Voltaire. Classical literature. Why? You were the ones writing it. You were the ones writing it. But you were being persecuted for it at the time because we were seeing a change in the hands of power. So you couldn't put it out there plainly. You had to do it, as we say, masonically. Half concealed, half revealed. So you put it in literature. I'm sure all of us here know that Shakespeare didn't write all that himself. Shakespeare was a pen name for 36 men under the leadership of one particular man. Who knows who that guy was? Sir Francis Bacon. That's exactly who he was. How many people know what he looked like? Or know his parental background? His mother was who? His mother was the Queen of England. He was the quote-unquote illegitimate son of her and a dark-skinned Moor by the name of the Duke of Lancaster. The Duke of Lancaster. He was a mulatto, as we put it. What was his name? Sir Francis Bacon. Sir Francis Bacon. For those of you that are familiar with the Rosicrucian Order, the man, or the mythical founder of the Rosicrucian Order was a man named, they gave him a pen named Christian Rosicruce, or Father R.C. That was Francis Bacon. That was him. Father R.C. was Francis Bacon. He traveled to Fez, Morocco to learn mysticism under a Sufi order called Order of the Rose. Getting back to my topics. History. I mentioned that we have two separate but equal nations on this one landmass. Can I prove it legally? Again, we're talking jurisprudence and the science of positive law. Yes, I can. There's a case that you need to research the decision on. The case is called Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy versus Ferguson affirms two separate but equal nations on one landmass. Or, like it is on the back of your dollar bill, two governments well involved in one. The Supreme Court case Plessy versus Ferguson affirms that. Two separate but equal nations. What further affirms it is the Dred Scott case. Everybody's heard the Scott versus Sanford case. Right? That further affirms it. Do not believe the people, white supremacists. Now, what I mean by white supremacists is that that's a political ideology. Many of us here in this room are white supremacists. Just keeping it real. Many of us in this room may be white supremacists. Many of you that walk around here, you call yourself black? No disrespect, you're a white supremacist. Just keeping it real. Call yourself black, white, Negro, Indian, West Indian, any of these slave labels. That is a white supremacist mentality. Why? Because in 1854, these Europeans got together and said, you know what, we have our beefs and differences, but look, man, we all have one common goal. We are outnumbered on the planet 11 to 1. And we can't hold these aboriginals here down physically for much longer. We have to have an educational revolution. So we all got to get together. So these minorities got together and they said, okay, we are no longer German, French, Dutch, English, Irish. We're white. They took your name. We read the definition. They took your name. They traded places. And then instead of saying this is the Moorish nation we subjugated, we rewrite in history. Reconstruction. And what do we call them? You're black, you're Trini, you're Jamaican, you're an Indian. We were already doing it. They already had their men running in and out of our women to further broaden the human bouquet spectrum. So somebody like her, or they let her run into the interior and live in teepees on the run. And they retell the stories of their Indians. Somebody like you, they take you to the eastern seaboard and put you on the auction block. There's a book out everybody can get by Jack Forbes called Africans and Native Americans. Get the book. The Africans and Native Americans. It's in any and every major bookstore. Jack D. Forbes. Get the book. Yeah, he still has the Christian paradigm or the slave trade across the Atlantic, but he gives some real interesting things in there. Like for the fact that there's actual records in Europe or in Spain of Native Americans being stolen and sold on the auction blocks in Spain with names like Ali and Muhammad, Native Americans. Guess what they were classified when they got to Spain? Say it again? Negroes. Oh, so just the opposites going on. The Dred Scott versus, I kind of got off. The Dred Scott versus Sanford case, a lot of people will tell you, oh, that was overturned, the 14th Amendment. How many people have heard that? You can't use Dred Scott case was overturned. How many people have heard that? How many people believe that you can't use the Dred Scott case, that it was actually overturned? Is everybody familiar with the decision of the Dred Scott decision? No, sir. Dred Scott decision, Judge Roger Tawney said this. Dred Scott has no power. We have to toss the case. The lack of jurisdiction. Because Dred Scott in his own deposition said he was a Negro descendant of African slaves and has no power in this court, slave or free. He can never be a citizen of our several state society with the power to sue in federal court. Never. So we can't hear his case. That's why they call him plaintiff in error. How many people here think that they can't use that in the present day? You don't think so? That's honest. That's big. Big. He's with me. He traveled here with me. Now, I'm going to show you why, with basic history that we learned in grade school, why that's a lie. We learned in grade school about the three powers of government, didn't we? Three powers of government, or the three houses of government. Legislative, executive, judicial, right? Executive does what? Enforces the law. Legislative does what? Makes the law. Judicial does what? Interprets the law. It's three-tiered so that each one is a check and balance for the other, so that no one of them can decide on their own issues. Understand? You see what I'm getting at now? How in the world can legislation, as in the 14th Amendment, overturn a decision coming from the Supreme Court? It can't. There's no legislation that can overturn a Supreme Court decision. What is the only thing that can overturn a Supreme Court decision? Another Supreme Court decision. Has there been another Supreme Court decision to supersede the decision made in Dred Scott versus Sanford? No. And I defy anybody to show me. There hasn't been. 14th Amendment conferred no real citizenship. Sorry to say, a lot of your black leaders have been misleading you. It confers no real citizenship. Research the slaughterhouse cases, 1866. You'll find out. The decision was like, there is no quote-unquote 14th Amendment citizenship that gives you first-class citizenship status. No such thing. No such thing. So the Dred Scott versus Sanford case stands. But it's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if we desire to be like Europeans and we desire to live under this seal as opposed to our own. We want to keep being the prodigal son. They have no problem sitting in this seat in your place. They don't got no problem with it. They'll do it for another 50 years. They have no problem. The last case I'm going to deal with, it seems like it may be unrelated, but it's very pertinent. It's the case Roe versus Wade. Who's familiar with Roe versus Wade? What was Roe versus Wade about? It was the famous abortion case where you had people saying that, well, abortion
is maybe the Far East. Dang. That's what I heard.
Heartbreaker for most people, this whole issue has never been about race. Race. What happened to this man at law? Erase out of your mind the racism garbage. That's what it is. Erase out of your mind and just think jurisprudence, the science of positive law. Think that for a second. All right? Firstly, a last name is your surname or national parentage name. Who's Johnny Gamage? Not an Asiatic. Johnny Gamage is an Englishman. That's number one. Number two, what happened to the cops? What were they tried under? Remember, everybody was like the cops, the people who advocated on the side of the cops were saying, oh, it's double jeopardy. They're trying them again for the same thing. But under what? Civil rights violations, right? Question, is there such thing as civil rights laws? Who said no? Anybody agree? Anybody disagrees? Right after the Civil War, the Civil Rights Bill of I believe it was 1866. Slaughterhouse case was in 1883. I believe it was 1866. Civil Rights Bill was passed under a lot of controversy. Afterwards, you had all kinds of riots and all kinds of other things. And then you had the slaughterhouse cases which determined two things. Number one, that the 14th Amendment conferred no real citizenship. And number two, guess what? The Civil Rights Bill was unconstitutional. It was repealed. Now the real question, the real why, is why does the president have to sign it every 25 years? It's a bill. It was never law. So what happened to those police officers when they said, oh, we're going to try you again under civil rights and convict you? They did that for all of us dumb Negroes out here. We would feel like, oh, justice served. They got convicted. Civil rights violations. What did their lawyers do? Went right back in the court the next day on appeal and said, how can you convict on a non-existing law? They were expunged and they never did a day in jail. Never. See the game they play on us? Because we're thinking colors. We're thinking that that's a black man and the other person's a white man. When children identify the nations of the earth by color, we got names like, no disrespect, Johnny Gamage. What is that according to law? That's contracting name, that's contracting business under a false name. You can go to jail for that. That's what it is. Gamage is an Englishman. Or a Scotsman. He's not an Asiatic, he's a Scotsman. Therefore, no rights to be respected. He doesn't honor his mother and father with his national parentage name. That means he's the property of the person who owns that national parentage name. That's what it means, according to law. So he is subject to, not part and parcel to. He's subject. All right? So, that's what happened to him. That's what happened to the cops in L.A. with the Rodney King incident. That's what happened to O.J. Simpson. Do you know why what happened to O.J. Simpson happened to O.J. Simpson? Had nothing to do with the murder of his ex-wife. It had to do with, as Brother Taj Tariq put it, the Black Code 1724, which is what all your state legislation is based on. The Black Code 1724. Look them up. They just won't call them that. They call them vagrancy laws. It's the same thing. Do you know what one of those is? The one that they applied to O.J. Simpson's issue? It is forbidden for any European woman to marry a Negro. And they are not obligated to recognize the marriage. And that person can be subjected to any arbitrary punishment. Basically, we'll make something up for him. Well, that's what happened to O.J. But they can't tell you that because you have to have faith in civil rights. Because that's the plug on the bottle for the genie. You the genie or the genius. That's the cork in the bottle. One of them. Because once you get away from the whole race issue and civil rights issue, now we're thinking real issues. It's never been color. It's not about, oh, we just don't like you niggas. It's always, always, always been about the true parental ownership of the land. Always. Oh, they love it every 26th of February when we say Black History Month. And we praise the myth of coming across the Atlantic. What did it say, 50 million? I've heard ridiculous numbers, 200 million of us. Read an atlas and look at the west coast of Africa and tally the approximate population. Don't you realize that 20 to 50 million people across the Atlantic would have depopulated Western Africa? It never happened. How many people are familiar with the Olmecs, Toltecs in Mexico? What do they look like? Dark-skinned, kinky-haired people, am I correct? Now, we can prove that at least a small group of dark-skinned, kinky-haired people were pre-Columbian. They were here before Columbus and before the so-called slave trade from Africa. Can anyone here in this room prove that their ancestors came from that land? Just knowing about the Olmecs destroys the myth of the transatlantic slave trade. We were always here. As long as you're thinking race and it's just, oh, white and black and they don't like us niggas, you will always keep doing the same things and expecting different results. That's the clinical definition of insanity. Yes, sir. Him and me. Brother.
Well, I was going to ask you this. How did our ancestors get here? That's it.
Brother, I'll tell you. How did you, within the course of 400 years, I'll answer your question. How did you, within the course of 400 years, lose your identity? Black is an adjective. Black describes a noun, and a noun is an object, person, place, thing, or idea. Black what? They can go in the ground and dig up bones and tell you what the animals ate millions of years ago. But in the course of 400 years, all of a sudden they don't know who you are. So the big joke every 25 years is what the niggas gonna call themselves today. Do you know how they changed you from a national identity to property status walking on 2 legs? Like the sister said, education. They rewrote history and got you to accept it. Now once they did that, they can tell you anything. We got you from the moon. And you will have no choice but to believe it because you don't know where you came from. Fact. You don't know where. They say, we got you from Mars, nigga. And you'll be like, Black Power, I'm proud to be from Mars. And they laugh every year with a joke. I have to give credit to Minister Louis Farrakhan for the Million Man March because in one day, he helped to change hundreds of years of negative information, disinformation about you here. Just because a lot of us, blind, deaf, and dumb Negroes, got together in one place with relative peace. I give it up to him because of that. He changed public policy on the Negro in one day. Or he helped.
Ran government in Houston, Texas, too.
That's right. But the fact of the matter is that none of our people wanted to touch us. They didn't want to touch us. We were stinking. As some people say, in a shallow grave. We were stinking. Still are. Still are. You know what I'm saying? That's why, okay? We came, without confusing people, I'll just say it, might as well say it. Brother, you never left ancient Africa. You never left ancient Africa. And I'll prove it. You never left it. You're always here. The only thing that happened is that you came from Africa to America by the stroke of a pen. They changed the name. How many of you are familiar with one of the oldest maps of the Western Hemisphere called the Piri-Reis map? It's written in Latin, it's also written in Arabic, by a quote-unquote Arab cartographer by the name of Piri-Reis.
Name again?
Piri-Reis, P-I-R-I-R-E-I-S. In Arabic, or in your Aramaic languages, we don't write the vowels, am I correct? Studies here. Why? I mean, I won't go into why in detail. Bottom line is that the vowel contains the life of the word. And words are things, and words bring things into physical manifestation. So the vowels are considered sacred.